All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kim Hazel Rudden. I am the Blue STEM Publicity Co-Chair, and I'm going to turn it over to the rest of our aisle representatives here to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Caroline Campbell, and I am the aisle registrar, and today I'm running the Zoom room.
I'm Heidi Knuth. I am the chair of the Blue STEM Committee.
All right, we have a couple of schools with us today. We have Greenbrier Elementary from Northbrook. We have J.B. Nelson Elementary from Batavia. And the reason why we're here today is because we're have another Blue STEM Award chat, and we're here with author Gillian McDunn. And I'm going to turn over her, let her talk to us for a moment, and then we're going to get some questions asked from her.
Hey, well, I'm so excited to be here talking to all of you today. My name is Gillian McDunn, and I write middle grade books. So the book that I know is on your Blue STEM list is Caterpillar Summer, and that was the first book I ever read that came out in 2019. And since then, I've had a new book come out every year. So my newest one to come out was last year. It was called Honestly, Elliot. Been celebrating here because it just won the Schneider Family Book Award Honor Award from the American Library Association. And then I actually have a brand new book coming at the end of this month called When Sea Becomes Sky that is about a girl and her brother in the salt marsh. They like to hang out there, and one day they find under the water a statue, like a big statue, and they can't figure out how it got there. So they start to investigate, and they learn a lot about their salt marsh, and they learn a lot about art, and they kind of learn a lot about some other things too. So yeah. So, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, and I had a couple of friends who just read your new book to review it, and they love it. So I'm excited to read it myself.
Hey, thank you.
So we are going to start with Miss Sanchez's class in Northbrook. They have a couple of questions for you, so I'm going to turn it over to them.
Hi, my name is Emily. I really liked your book. Where did you get the idea to write your book?
That's such a great question, Emily. Thank you for asking that. Books are funny because they kind of can come from a lot of different places. You know, there's so many things that go into a book. But the very first idea for the book was because, you know, that relationship that Kat has with her little brother, I had kind of a similar relationship with my little brother, Andy. We were really close, and he had some disabilities and kind of needed some special help sometimes. So I was always like looking out for him. We had fun together, but I also kind of felt that responsibility. So that was the first part. But I was also really inspired by North Carolina. So I also I'm from California. That's where I grew up. That was where all the beaches I had ever gone to were in California. So when I moved to North Carolina on the other side of the state, the country, I kind of had some surprises with the beaches here. So like that island, that beach setting is based on a real island in North Carolina called Topsail Island. And so I was really inspired by that too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Hannah, and where is your favorite place to write?
Oh, my favorite place to write. Well, I'm one of those writers who really likes a quiet place to write. So I like to kind of be in a room with a door that closes, and I like to be with my dog, who is named Friday. She's like my little writing buddy. She sits at my feet. And yeah, other than that, I like to be at home usually. I know some people like to just take their laptops and can write anywhere, and I love that for them, but I'm somebody who likes to be quiet, no music, just quiet. So yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Miss Phillips' class, if you want to have your students come up and ask their questions, or turn over to you.
Hi, my name is Ella, and I was wondering, what's your favorite character in Caterpillar Summer?
Oh, that's such a good and hard question. I love that you asked that, Ella. So I think that, you know, Cat and Chicken and Macon all kind of have a special place in my heart. But sometimes when I get this question, I actually like to talk about a character that most people do not think is their favorite, but I actually have a special place in my heart for this character too. It's John Harvey. Is that shocking? No. So I always like to say when I'm talking to kids about books and about writing, like one trick when you write like your antagonist, your bad guy, it's really important that you have a little bit of a feeling for that difficult character. Do you know what I mean? So it's not just like, oh, this person's just terrible. Because I just think in real life, people are a mix of good and bad things. And we're all kind of a mix of like the moment you catch us at, and a few other things as well, like where we are with our growing. So I have a really big soft spot for John Harvey, but probably Cat, Chicken, and Macon are my top. What about you? Did you have a favorite?
I think I like McDunn.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
My name is Amelia. My name is Lana, and after the end of the book, did the kids ever go back to North Carolina to see their friends and grandparents again?
Isn't that fun to like close a book and still be wondering? Like that's the biggest compliment you can give an author, is that you just kind of still have your wonder bubble going about those characters. So, that part's not written in my mind. Yes, I hope that it really does start a relationship where they can come visit, and maybe Macon and Lily will also come visit them, and all kinds of things could happen. But I haven't written any more of their story. I think about it a lot. So I don't know if there'll ever be another, like a sequel or anything like that, but in my mind, I think so. I hope so.
Hi, my name is Marissa, and I was wondering if there's.
We're gonna just do two, right? Are we doing one more?
We're
Or are we
doing two,
stopping
and then
it?
we're rotating.
Got it.
That was two.
Oh, was that two for you? I'm sorry. So we'll come back to you after Miss Sanchez's class. Go ahead, Miss Sanchez's class. So stay on deck. We'll be right back with.
Hi, my name is Celine, and the mom in your book writes children books. Do you think you will ever write a children book? And if so, would you use Caterpillar and Chicken as the characters?
Yeah, so I think it would be awesome to write a picture book someday. They're kind of hard to write. I know sometimes people think they would be easy because they don't use a lot of words, but if you ever sit down and really try to tell a full story, I mean, a lot of times they're like 30 pages, there's not a ton of words. So it's something that I'm working on. I would love to be able to write one. I don't know if I would exactly use Caterpillar and Chicken because they just kind of belong to Caterpillar Summer in a way to me. But I do like that idea, just like those early, like those young, like Elephant and Piggy or something like that, where they're going back and forth talking. I always think those were fun to read with my kids. So I would love to write something like that someday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Raya. How long did it take you to write this book?
That's an awesome question. It's also a little bit of a tricky question because you can sit down and you can write your first draft, but then you have to do that revising thing, right? Where you go back and you look at it and you kind of work on it some more. So I would say for my first draft, that took only like 2 or 3 months. But then I needed to go back and revise. So I ended up having like a few partners to help me with those revisions. And then when my book, so with publishing, like the publisher like buys your book, but then that's just like the beginning of the next round of revision because you work with somebody called an editor. And my editor is great. Her name is Mary Kate. She's super smart. And she helps me not with like spelling, like not those kinds of edits, but she'll say like, I think this should be stronger, or I think this should be more exciting, or why are these characters interacting with each other? That part is confusing. And then I need to dig in and go back and revise with her feedback in mind. So long story short, I would say most of these books take like a year to a year and a half, like start to finish, but publishing kind of, the wheels turn slowly. And so that's not always like working on it nonstop every minute of the day, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Phillips class, we're back to you. If you want to have your next two students ask questions.
Hi, my name is Marissa, and I was wondering if there was a special person in your life that inspired you to write Caterpillar Summer.
Oh, I love that. Well, I mentioned my brother Andy already, so there are some similarities there with Cat and Chicken and with me and my brother Andy. The other person that just pops in my mind is my English teacher from when I was in 7th grade. So her name is Jackie Scahill, and we wrote every single day in her class, and she was always really encouraging of me with my writing. So we've kept in touch this whole time. I still talk to her on the phone a few times a year. So I think that it's just the kind of thing just to remember that if you like writing and you start doing it now, like that is something that might stay with you your whole life, and that teachers can have that kind of impact on you your whole life too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Clara, and I was wondering why you started writing books.
Oh, that's a good question. So I had always wanted to be a children's book author from when I was really, really small. Like even before I could write, I would ask my mom, like I would say the words and I'd ask her to write them, and then I would draw little pictures. So it was my dream my whole life. But kind of in a funny way, I started doing other kinds of writing for a long time. So I was like a technical writer. So I would write like computer instructions, and I wrote for grants for people to get money for their schools or their organizations. And I've almost done every other kind of writing you could think of as a job. And then one day I just said, I guess if I really want to do this, if this is my dream, I need to really try to do it. I was just sort of expecting it to just happen. Is that so silly? I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking, but I decided I would try, and I made a promise to myself that I was going to keep working on it until it was done. And in my mind, that you can't guarantee that you're going to get it published and on a shelf. That was kind of a long shot, but I just wanted to keep going with it as long as I felt like I could make that story better. And I got really lucky because my first book actually became a published book that you can read and have on your shelf. But that was like, yeah, that this whole thing of writing books is just my whole lifelong dream coming true.
All right, so Ms. Sanchez class, you guys are up next.
Hi, my name is Hannah, and I know you have a new book coming out soon, but what book are you currently working on?
Oh, that's a great question. So maybe even the other authors you've talked to, publishing can be a little complicated. So you're talking about the book that's coming out, but you're writing a book that will be coming out in the future. So the book I'm working on, we're kind of still figuring out the title, but it should come out sometime next year, sometime in 2024. And it is a mystery. And it is about a boy who moves into an apartment building and a ruby necklace gets stolen. So he and a new friend decide to do some investigating. It's really, really fun to write a mystery. There's a lot of like little twists and turns, and I'm having a really good time with it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Sanchez, did you have any other students?
Yeah, sorry, I thought we were going 1-1. So yeah, here's
Oh,
another question. Say your name, sweetie.
Hi, I'm Talia. If you weren't a writer, what would you be doing for a job?
That's a good question. Well, I mentioned I've done different kinds of writing, so I probably would do this. Is it okay not writing books, but I probably would be doing some kind of writing. If I had to do something that did not have to do with writing, I really loved linguistics in college. That's like studying language and how languages form and how people learn language. So I still think I would be doing something having to do with language.
All right, Ms. Phillips class.
Hi, my name is Kirby, and I was wondering what's your favorite part of the book of Caterpillar Summer?
My favorite part. I think I have a few favorite parts. I think that I really enjoy that part where Kat gets to go see the ocean for the first time, and she's so surprised by the warm water, because that exact same thing happened to me the first time I went to the beach in North Carolina. I was so used to the water always being, I mean, it's so cold sometimes in California because of the way the water goes. Sometimes the water is just like freezing. So I was super surprised by that warm water. There's also kind of that like big scene toward the end where they're looking for, I don't know if everybody's read it. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's that part where they're kind of looking for chicken that was like really intense to write, but like in a good way, in a way where I liked how it turned out. So
Hi, my name is Georgie. Why did you pick the nickname Cat and Chicken?
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess, in my family, like with my kids, like we have little like nicknames that just stay in the family. So I was just, for whatever reason, kind of thinking about that idea that sometimes people have little like private family nicknames, and what happens if they feel like they're outgrowing them or if they want to be called something else. And then while I was thinking of that, I was thinking about the mom being the picture book writer. And I thought, well, that would be kind of cool if that could fit together, where you could see in the book that mom is sort of seeing Kat in one way, but Kat is wanting to see herself in another way. So that just kind of fit. The thing with Chicken, and I always feel like I have to announce, like I know Chicken says he doesn't like the name Henry. I personally love the name Henry. It was like the runner-up for my son's name. So I don't have anything against the name Henry, but the idea is that character just has his own, completely different, right? Like it's sometimes nice in books to have characters who do things really differently. So Kat is saying, please don't call me that anymore. And Chicken is saying, please call me that all the time. So just a little like tension, a little bit of a different way of handling things.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, as we go to Miss Sanchez's class, we'll start asking one question each, and that way, hopefully everyone will get the same amount of questions. So we'll go to Miss Sanchez class and back to Miss Phillips, and then Miss Sanchez, and then we'll see how many we can squeeze in before our time is up.
Okay.
So over to you, Miss Sanchez class.
Hi, my name is Charlotte, and my name is Molly. Well, we were wondering, what was your favorite author when you were a kid?
Oh, that is a good question.
And what was your favorite book?
So when I was a kid, I read all the time. And my favorite book was probably, there's a book mentioned in Caterpillar Summer. I don't know if you noticed it, but it's Where the Red Fern Grows. I don't know if you've ever read that one, but it is, it's one that I still reread like every couple of years because it is a special one for me. And it is like, it's a big feelings book, which I actually really like books that make me have big feelings. So that's probably my most read book. But I also really liked like the Chronicles of Narnia, and I read a lot of Beverly Cleary and Gordon Corman, and I would just kind of read whatever was available.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Samantha, and I was wondering what was your inspiration, or like who was your inspiration for McDunn and Lily, her grandparents? Were they based off of your grandparents, or?
Yeah, that's a good question. So yeah, no, actually, I was not super close to my grandparents. That's kind of like the grandparents that I wish that I had. Macon is sort of like a little bit like my father-in-law. My husband's dad is really, he's just really kind. I mean, actually, my father-in-law isn't gruff like Macon is, but he has that like kindness to him. And then I based Lily on my English teacher from 7th grade, who I mentioned before. So she's just kind of always that like really, really warm and really sweet and really understanding, like meets people where they are. So those are probably the inspirations there. Yeah.
All right. Do we have another class joining us? Ms. Wilson, do you have a class with you?
Okay, I have a student with me. I'm sorry that we're late. I had trouble getting connected, but
Okay. So if your student has a question, you can have him or her ask Do you want to put
Okay.
them on? We can't see you, but we can hear you.
Well, I'll try to get in on the video. Well, okay.
We see the ceiling, so we're getting closer.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
his
now
super
we see you.
camera is flipped. So we're just gonna have keep our camera off, I think, because it's flipped right now.
That's okay, but we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So
Basit, do you have a question? No, he says no.
Okay. That's fair enough. If you think of one in the next couple minutes, just type it in the chat and we'll get to you. So we will
that's
go
great.
back
Thank
to
you.
oh, no problem. We'll go back to Miss Sanchez's class.
Okay, I think this is our very last question. Sasha, come over.
Hi, my name is Sasha, and what was your absolute favorite activity when you were a kid and why?
So besides reading books, I love to swim. That was probably my favorite thing to do. I like to go to the beach. That was my favorite place to go. I grew up in California, really close to Disneyland. I could even see the fireworks at Disneyland from my house. That's how close we were. But if you asked me any day if I would rather go to Disneyland or the beach, I would always pick the beach. So yeah, swimming, being in the water, being near the ocean, those were always my favorite things to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Addison, and how many books do you plan on making?
Oh, wow. That's a cool question. I don't know. My goal is to kind of keep doing one a year for a while, for kind of as long as that feels manageable. It's kind of a full-time job, with the one a year. And so that's working out really well for me now. I would love to have lots of books, like a big old section on the shelf someday. That would be amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, my name is Declan, and my question is, how did you get the idea of Hello, my name is McKenna, and I was just wondering if you had any troubles making Caterpillar Summer.
Did I have any troubles when I was writing it?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, so this is the thing. I mentioned my editor, Mary Kate. And so when she wants me to do a revision, she sends me these letters. So the first letter I got was like 8 pages long and like single space, tiny font. And some of it was like, hey, I'm really enjoying your book. And then it was like, here's an idea, here's an idea, here's an idea, like really a lot. And they were really good ideas, but sometimes you see a good idea and you think, well, yeah, that'd be good. I just don't know how to do it. So like that was always really hard. Every time I got a letter, they would get a little shorter. And I kept like adding more and more to it. And I was like, okay, I'm kind of getting this, but the book was getting longer and longer. And you don't necessarily want a kid's book to be super duper long. So the last letter I got from Mary Kate was like, everything is looking really good. I just want you to shorten it. Can you try to take out like 10,000 words, which is like, there's like 200-ish words on each page. So I had to do a lot of cutting things out. That was probably the hardest, but I really ended up feeling like I was leaving only the good parts. That's kind of something weird about revising. Sometimes you make it really big, and then when you go back again and say, oh, well, here's now some stuff that I can take out. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, Ms. Phillips, if you have one more question, we can end with you.
How did you get the ideas for the characters in Caterpillar Summer?
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess, cat and chicken were in my head already because I had that brother-sister idea. And then I just started, I always ask like what if type questions. I feel like that's a really good thing to do when you're building a story. So I started kind of thinking like, what if Kat was in the situation at home and didn't really necessarily know how to talk to her mom about what she needed help with. And then she got taken out of the situation with her mom, what would happen then? And so I had to start thinking about what could cause that to happen, how it might be interesting if it was people who didn't really know Kat and her brother very well. And so sometimes those what ifs just take you down a path, and sometimes it's the right path for the story, and sometimes it's not. But I feel like I just sort of keep asking until it feels right. So it's not like everybody is like based on a certain person, but it's, sometimes you kind of look for opposite characteristics to have between characters so you can kind of show something else about your main character. So some of it was, yeah, some of it was that.
And then we have a quick question in the chat from Miss Wilson.
Oh, great.
They would their question is, why did you make your book?
Oh, yeah. Why did I make it? I mean, I guess, we have talked, earlier in the chat a little bit about like this being my dream my whole life. But I think ultimately with this book, what I would really like kids to take away from it is that I hope that everybody knows that it's okay to ask for help. And that's not always something that kids know or are told specifically. And I think, when you meet Kat, she's really trying to be super responsible all the time. And I was like that as a kid too. And I think I thought it would be helpful to kind of get that message that sometimes we need to go ahead and ask for that help so people can, come and help us and give us the support that we need.
Awesome. So before we go, I just want to say thank you for joining us today and answering all of our awesome questions. Well, they're awesome questions, not our. Students, if you want to unmute and you can say your goodbyes, and thank you again. And I really loved your book. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all
you
your
very much.
questions. Yeah, it was awesome to see you all. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right. Bye. Bye.
Guys, thank you again.
Oh
for
yeah, thank you
taking
so
the
much for
time.
having me. It was really fun. Bye.
Awesome.
Thank you.
See you in
Thank you,
March.
Blue STEM Committee.
Thank you.